Hi, I'm Danielle, and this is Chatter Out Loud, a podcast where I share thoughts and TV commentary, starting with one of my favorite shows, Big Brother. In this episode, I'm chatting about Celebrity Big Brother Season 3, and I wanted to give what I think may be my last live feed updates. I'm not sure if any other spoilers are out there or coming. We're at the end of the game. And in a regular version or a regular season of Big Brother, there would be like a part 1 and a part 2 of the final HOH, or a part 1 and a part 2 leading up to the final HOH. But with Celebrity Big Brother, I didn't think that applied, but I could be wrong. I don't remember what happened in Celebrity Big Brother Season 2. I hear other Big Brother reviewers I watch, they say that we should expect to see a part 1 and part 2 for leading up to that final HOH. So if that does happen, then I'll come back and share what I learned. But right now there's not much going on the feeds. We're down to the final 3, and they are Todrick Hall, Misha Tate, and Cynthia Bailey. I have to admit, I am disappointed. My energy has really shifted. I'm kind of over this season. It's not who my pick was, In my cast reveal episode, I shared that I was rooting for Todd Bridges, and I said that I thought he'd be smart in the game. And he did okay. He wasn't always smart in the game, but he did okay. He competed for sure. I think his strategic part kind of lacked a little planning there, but overall, I think he did okay. I think he had trust in people he thought he was in an alliance with, and then he found out how he was being played after it was already too late, and he couldn't even do anything about it. But overall, I think he had a good game, right? He ended up in the final 4, so that's really good. Well, right after the show closed, Todrick was on the feed sharing how much of a fan he is of Big Brother, and he revealed that to the other house guests, to Cynthia. I don't know if she knew that already, but he said it on the feeds. He's such a big fan, and he was recapping. He recapped different plays in the game. They all are excited. They've made it to the final 3. They were celebrating. They were enjoying the moment, as they should, right? Being on this show with everything recorded for all of us to watch, and it's unedited, and we're picking over it, and we're commenting, we're judging, right? That's what we do as an audience and fans of Big Brother. We critique things. And this is not scripted, which some of them are in their professional lives. They're used to like scripted things or things being planned out. But this is a different thing for them, right? So I imagine it could be really hard, right? And after they get out of the house, it could give them, each of them, perspective and some insight on a few things that they do or don't do in their personal lives. But who knows? And quite frankly, who cares, right? We'll be moving on soon anyway. Going back to the feeds, Todrick seemed a little surprised by America voting and didn't seem to be too happy about it because he thinks that America could be swayed by what was aired, right? And that's a risk, and that's true. Regardless of what we see on the live feeds, America is swayed by what they see and how it's edited. So that is a true statement, Todrick, and you should be worried. Not much is happening right now, but there's a lot going on IG and Twitter. Early this morning, Lamar and Todd Bridges have both been on their social media platforms, and they're sharing thoughts. Lamar posted on IG, it was an image, and the image said, quote, "You should have played chess, not let me start over. Quote, "You should have played chess, not checkers, Todrick," end quote. And he also wrote something in the caption about Todrick being a fake friend and how Todrick, kind of forgot that Lamar has a jury vote. And this just led me to believe that Lamar is not voting for Todrick, if he's in the final 2, that is. Plus, he had an interview with Us Weekly, and he says he's shocked. And this is Lamar referring to Todrick. He's shocked at the hit that Todrick's taking outside of the house. He thought that Todrick took the wrong approach. And he also shared he really didn't like Todrick's HOH ceremony. And he repeated what he said to Todd inside of the house about the HOH ceremony, and that he felt like in that moment Todrick was gloating and he's not a gracious winner. So that was interesting. That was interesting to hear from Lamar. We also learned in that interview that he had a friend that knew of Todrick because Lamar didn't know who he was. And I thought that was a little shade. It was unintentional, but I thought it was a little shade he threw at Todrick because Lamar said, I didn't even know who he was. Anyway, his friend told Lamar after there were rumors that he was going to be in the house, and his friend had a gut feel that, yeah, Todrick's going to be in the house. That friend told Lamar that Todrick is the type of person that you have to keep your eye on. So he already had a reputation even before entering the Big Brother house. And so maybe that's why Lamar kind of was hesitant with Todrick, you know? I don't know. But it doesn't stop there, you guys. Todd Bridges, he's on Twitter. He says he's not voting after what he said, and he meaning Todrick. So Todd Bridges isn't voting after what he's heard Todrick say about him, right? He said, no way, wow, sad, and threw some emojis up there. Days ago, after Carson was voted out, he's gone through so many, he's on TV, on social media, in interviews, sharing how bad he feels about Shayna. He's apologizing a million times. He also describes Todrick as tricky. I thought that was clever wording. And he'll have more to say on finale night. So we'll look forward to that. Shayna, well, we all saw her when she left the house or was exiting the house, said, don't worry, Todrick, I'll get the jury to vote against you. I personally think she only said that as a last-ditch effort to bother Todrick. And we saw that it worked because it got into his head and he talked about it a lot after Shayna left the house. It really got to him. NSYNC Chris. Let me back up. Shayna and Todrick's relationship inside of the house was so bad. It led her to making that comment on the way out the house. That leads me to believe that she's not voting for Todrick either, right? NSYNC Chris, he has shared in interviews how unhappy he is with Todrick, especially with him commenting on him being a dad and how his son is going to have to view him for how he was playing the game, kind of implying like he's not the best role model in a sense for his son by the way he's playing the game. SNL Chris tweeted he couldn't believe everything that was said. So at this point, and I said this before, but at this point, I don't see a path for Todrick to win the season. But like I've said before, I could be wrong about any or all of this, right? I'm a huge fan of Big Brother. I've seen trends throughout the season with jury votes. I've watched all the seasons since season 1 when they were carrying those tired briefcases and each of them had an SUV rolling up to the house. Which, by the way, that was the only season we saw that. But I just couldn't put together what were the briefcases. That's still a puzzle to me. Like, what are you doing with the briefcases? You're moving in. Where's the suitcase? It just didn't make sense. But anyway, I've watched since season 1. So I get invested with the live feeds. I tweet. I do a podcast. I'm on YouTube. I watch other BB commentary channels. So I'm invested. I'm into the game. I like it. I enjoy it. It's a great pastime. And with all that being said, in my opinion, I just don't see a path where Todrick wins the season, right? Although it would be great to see an America's vote, I'm not sure it'll ever get to where America is the deciding vote. The fact that Todrick played a good game in terms of strategy and shifting targets from his ally to other people in the house, to knowing the game and playing in the comps, he influenced that entire house and he played the game of Big Brother. Yes. What he forgot to do in all of this is the game part, or the part of the game that includes the jury, right? He did not make friends on that jury. And I'm using the term friends loosely, right? None of them appear to like Todrick after this experience. We've heard from almost every juror, with the exception of Mariah. I really haven't seen anything with her. Maybe I'll go look for that this afternoon. I'm not sure. But based on the comments from Lamar, Todd, NSYNC Chris, Shayna, Carson, we kind of feel we know where their jury vote would lean, right? Should Todrick be in the final two? And to me, Todrick didn't have a good plan for managing that jury, right? We hear a lot of people say he did poor jury management. And yes, he did poor jury management. Yeah. People have to like you in order to vote for you, no matter how well you played the game. And that is part of the game, right? And we've seen that before, haven't we? Yeah. Do you think we'll see more after the season is over play out on social media? Because Todrick has really said some things that offended people. He's calling people homophobic. He's just said some things. He's accusing people of things. He's not liked. And I'm wondering, do you think we'll see the house guests play out some of this on social media? There'll be a little drama on social media. I wonder, right? Because Todrick is a social media person. For all we know, I said this yesterday, for all we know, Todrick will get out of the house, hear everything that's going on. He'll shoot a video on YouTube and tell all of us to kick rocks. Right? And then he'll move. He'll keep moving and doing his tour and building his career, right? Honestly, I'm kind of fading on this season. I'll still watch to the end. I always do. But from here to the season ends, for me, it's kind of, I'm over it. I am looking forward to Survivor. And the other show, that new show that's coming out, I think it's called Beyond Edge or Beyond the Edge. I think that's what it's called. So I'll invest some time into those programs. So stay tuned for that. All right, and that's all I have. So be sure to come back and give me a listen, a like, follow, share, subscribe. You can leave me a comment, leave me a message if you're listening to the podcast. There's a link to leave me a message, so just check that out. You can find me by looking for Chatter Out Loud. I have this podcast, I tweet, I'm on YouTube, so look for Chatter Out Loud and you'll find me. All right, my name is Danielle and you're listening to my podcast, Chatter Out Loud. Thank you so much for joining me, and as always, I appreciate your support. And that's all I have. Thanks again for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.